Hello again, and this time we are going to talk about professional services. Before starting, why I'm here, I've created a business that scaled from zero to $200 million revenues. With the team, we made an IPO at the Nasdaq in New York, and after 19 years, I decided to share my knowledge with you, hoping that you can use some of the advices and mistakes to avoid to build a bigger business than $200 million revenues. That said, today we're gonna talk about professional services. Professional services that usually are seen as evil in the organization because they have a negative impact on gross margin, in my opinion, are underestimated because they are perfectly fitted to create a long lasting relationship with the customer, to create more stickiness in the product, more stickiness in the relationship with the customer. So at the end, in the long game, they will have a bigger impact on the NDRR, the net dollar retention. That said, there are I categorize the professional services, and this is not written in the stone, but into four different categories. Category number one is implementation, where in the software is after the customer purchase the software, we help the customer to set it up and go live. The second is support. Support is help desk. It's an activity that starts before the customer buy the software, because usually when they are doing pilot trials, they are testing the software because you open a free demo for them. Usually they ask help, and the reactivity of the and the quality of the support delivered in that specific phase can impact on the conversion rate. That means the willingness of the customer to buy or not. Enablement is all the training that is involved to train the customer to use the software on its own. Customer success is a role that after the implementation take over the relationship with the customer, focus on establishing relationship with the customer, orchestrating activities with the customer. But at the end, as now is crafted, is just a consultant with limited ability and purpose, very reactive, tier 4 support, begging the customer on a quarterly call to renew the service, which is not what I expect from a modern customer success team. Um, how professional services team evolve over time? When you are at 10 people employees, everyone is providing support, also the founders. There is not a professional services team with well-defined roles. This happen probably when you go from 10 to 100 people, where you can start splitting a desk, customer success, and implementation all together, and probably implementation is also in charge of enablement and training. Then when you scale, let's say, but those numbers are just you know placeholders, are not written on the stone as well. But from 100 to 500, you start thinking creating internal universities to train your customers. Probably the professional services team become bigger, and then they require a layer of management, etc., etc., etc. At the end, I mean, end of the journey, I know, which is 1,000 employees. Probably there are different multiple layers on on a bigger journey, but I have arrived only to 1,000. You start creating a customer community. That means places, a customer forum where customer can interact between themselves to support themselves, specifically to self-help themselves through peer-to-peer helping and discussions, customer user group and meetup. So your scope is to let the customer socialize, and these will creating customer community usually makes the help desk work less heavy, because part of the help desk happen inside forum and collaboration. I want to touch another point, which is professional services pricing. First of all, it's market segment. The pricing, I'm not a big fan to the approach that says I custom professional services need to be very cheap because what I want to privilege gross margin for the ARR. For me, professional services must be a huge center of revenues with possibly healthy gross margin. But this depends also on the segment. Small business, you cannot charge to a customer that buys 1,000 ACV, 4,000 for the implementation. But you can charge a huge amount of professional services on very big contract, very big ACV. It's geography dependent. If in mature market professional services are perceived as I want quality because I want my project successful, in a not mature market, the approach is I already paid the license, why I have to pay professional services, which is something you need to change as behavior and mindset of the customer. Um, as I said, professional services are center of revenues, and professional services are built to have different tiers of pricing. If they support by ticket 5 days on 7, 8 hour a day, have one price, 24 hour, 7 on 7 on help desk have another price, probably way bigger. Like implementation, you can have light implementation package, heavy, I mean, full implementation package, more team, less team, etc., etc. There are different tier of professional services that say every tier need to be a center of revenues, not a center of loss. Let's go deep on customer success role. This slide is very funny because they say during crisis, the role that is biggest impacted is customer success. Customer success because it's perceived as a team you can avoid in the organization. And why? Because it's not well designed. What I mean? That customer success at the end is just tier 4 support and a reactive team that jump on the problem when there is a problem, that does not anticipate the problem, is not proactive, and it's just made to call a customer to just do a chit chat and beg the customer to renew the service, which is very wrong. And why it's very wrong? Let's see what is the difference between customer success and consultant. I mean, if for customer success the customer relationship is the core, for a strategic consultant the project success is the core, which should be. I mean, if a project goes well, the customer relationship by definition is well. If the customer relationship is well but the project is bad, the customer relationship is compromised. So the customer relationship is just one element of a bigger, more complex playbook. And what I mean with playbook, I mean this. Sorry, I'm flipping to one slide and then going back. So you have a consult. Let's see. There are three columns in this slide. Customer success team on steroids. I mean, the customer success team I would love to see implemented in software as a service. A consulting team and a customer success team that does not exist because the roles are splitted between other departments. So if a full consulting team usually have available those tools and skills, they have a playbook of execution on specific project for specific sites, for specific industry, for specific use cases. They have a project management capabilities. They have inside the team, because it's not the single person that work with the customer, but a team, a concept of multidisciplinarity, which by the way create a team which is heavy, that means costly for the customer. They have tools to measure customer health, and they have a product adoption dashboard that highlights potential problems that a real, serious, skilled customer success team should anticipate. I mean, they should notice before the customer. Sprinkle customer success team means every duty of customer success is split between other roles, which I don't like. And they are usually the only tool they have available is a customer health status, like Gainsight, that says, okay, it's orange, red, or green. Transforming a customer success team that as of now they have only available a customer health dashboard, probably we need to provide two additional tools. One is a product adoption dashboard because the success of the project is also mostly tied to product adoption dashboard. So it's a BI system that identifies specific KPIs that say, is this project adopted well or not? For example, if we have a project that involve potentially 200 users in the organization and we see through the dashboard that only 100 users are using it, we, customer success team, proactively need to jump on the problem and fix it. But how? I mean, you can do it in two ways. Or you try to invent something, or you have a playbook, which is the third tool I'm thinking about. A playbook is if there is a specific problem for this industry in this segment, do this. So a playbook is if for a specific customer only 50% of the users are adopting, this is the game plan. Go to the customer, help the customer to support a communication plan to let the other user enter, an enablement plan, a promotion plan, whatever. But they need to have a playbook. Playbook means scalability. So going back, usually the industry, I mean, I do see the change of skill of customer success in three ways: transforming and upskilling the customer success through product adoption dashboard and playbooks, or you create a consulting team that take over the customer success activity and work with the customer strategically, or you sprinkle customer success team across different teams, which I really don't like. About professional services, those are the mistakes I would avoid. First of all, professional services need to meet in person the customer, of course, if the ACV support this kind of costs involved, transfer meetings, blah 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 blah. But establishing in-person relationship pays in the long run. Fixing the customer success team, it's what is for me the most important thing in professional services now. Underpriced professional services is another mistake. You need to have a healthy gross margin, and for the benefit of future NDRR, I'm not shy. I'd be not shy on sacrificing something like 2 points of gross margin, and the services must be delivered from the region you serve. What I mean, if you work in Europe, if your professional service team is in Europe and you pretend to deliver in US, probably this is set up for failure. Professional services need to be a boot on the ground team. Quick one today. Avoid gray areas when you quote professional services. If you sell, this is something happened to a company I know. If you offer only the license, the recurring revenue ARR, and you don't mention professional services, some customer can mislead the offer and think that unlimited professional services are included in the offer. So be always sure to state what professional services include and does not include. So, in the next episode, we will discuss about finance, legal, and governance all together because those are very specific topic. I'm not expert about, but there are some elements I would like to highlight with you.